May 23rd, 1991.
A primetime investigation undercover. Chief correspondent Chris Wallace exposes a big new scam. Car crashes that are no accident.
Right here's where you want to have, Freddie? A rear ender? A rear ender, yeah. That's more for the neck injuries, huh? Yeah.
Rehearsals, scripts. These guys are pros.
You brought your own prop.
Yeah. You got to make it look real.
It's a sophisticated and lucrative criminal network that costs insurance companies and people like you hundreds of millions, even billions of dollars a year.
It's one of the world's most dramatic environmental disasters. Imagine Lake Erie drying up. That's how much water has been lost in the Soviet Union's Aral Sea.
From here to that grounded trawler is 49 feet. That's how fast in some places the sea has been receding, not every year or month, but every day.
Jay Shadler has the story of a man-made catastrophe that no man can stop.
You've seen the hype, the hustle, the glitz. But what's really at stake in Cannes? Why do these people go through it?
I've met more people in the bathroom than I've met anywhere else with cameras. And I keep telling them where Madonna is so that they can go and leave me alone.
Tonight, the world's most exclusive beach party. Your tour guide, Judd Rose.
From ABC News, with anchors Diane Sawyer in New York, Sam Donaldson in Washington, Chief Correspondent Chris Wallace, Judd Rose, Jay Shadler, and Sylvia Chase. This is Prime Time.
When your dollar's shrinking and your dreams along with it, come to Color Tile's half-price Memorial Day sale and double your money's worth. Half price on quality DuPont Stainmaster carpet, just $12.99 installed. Redo your kitchen or bath for half price. Ceramic or vinyl, only 44 cents a tile. And mini blinds, buy one, get two free. At Color Tile's half-price Memorial Day sale, we'll double your money and turn your dreams into reality. Hurry, sale ends Monday.
Look, isn't that Jerry Mesa movie star?
When you can't get to the picture, the Minolta Freedom Zoom brings the picture to you. The only compact zoom with 5-beam autofocus.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
Prime Time from New York. Here now, Diane Sawyer.
Good evening. Tonight, our chief correspondent, Chris Wallace, is going to tell you about a brand new growth industry in California. It's a big business not many people have heard about, since it takes place in back alleys and darkened side streets. In Los Angeles County alone, there are more than 400 car accidents a day. But as you're about to see, a quarter of those are no accident. Chris Wallace took along hidden cameras to show how some enterprising lawbreakers are making millions crashing cars.
It's Saturday night in Los Angeles, and what you're about to see is a staged car crash, as carefully planned and rehearsed as a Hollywood movie shoot. But the undercover camera belongs to Primetime, and what you're witnessing is a crime. It may only take a few seconds, but just one crash brings in, on average, more than $20,000 in phony insurance claims.
They can make more in an hour staging an automobile accident than they can make in an hour selling drugs.
Ron Worthen is chief investigator for the California Department of Insurance Fraud Bureau. He says when you add it up, 100 staged accidents a day, $20,000 in claims per accident, this is a $500 million a year insurance scam in California alone.
A crasher doing one accident a day, just one crasher, taking weekends off, working 5 days a week, is making $100,000 a week, $400,000 a month.
The crashers who orchestrate these staged accidents are street hustlers known as cappers. Time was when a capper raced to real crashes, looking for people to file injury claims. But there are only so many real accidents to go around, so cappers started creating their own.
There was a time that we produced up to, in a month's period of time, we produced almost 32 cases.
I mean, you were cranking them right out.
Kicking them out.
Dave Buzan used to be a capper. Before he served 6 months in prison for insurance fraud, He was part of a 30-member ring that staged accidents throughout Los Angeles County.
You had $200,000 in the bank?
At one time, yeah.
I mean, this is big money.
Big bucks. That's what I say. This is organized crime. It's not Mickey Mouse hit somebody in the rear end anymore. This is truly organized.
It is, in fact, a world of its own, with a complex set of relationships and a colorful terminology. A staged accident typically works like this. A capper recruits, let's say, 3 people who will file insurance claims for bogus injuries. They pose as passengers in the car that is to be rammed, commonly referred to as the nail. But now, the capper must find what's called the hammer, the car that is going to do the ramming. The main qualification for this car is that it have a good insurance policy, good enough to pay for all those phony injuries and damage. To get a hammer, the car that's going to do the ramming, the capper pays the owner he's recruited about $1,500, much more than the owner stands to lose when his premium goes up after the crash. Then, in order to fool the insurance company, Buzan says cappers literally script their accidents.
We'll draw it up on diagram paperwork first, so everybody knows extremely what they're doing.
And both of them look over this script, they agree upon it, they memorize it, and then they call the insurance company to report the accident.
And they all have their story straight.
And they all have their story straight. And the cappers are doing this in such great volume, they need these scripts just to go back and remember what lie they told 3 months ago when they staged automobile accident number 59.
We wanted to see for ourselves just how these staged accidents work. And so Primetime went along on an undercover sting of this capper named Freddie, who police said had been in the business for years. It starts in the parking lot of a bar in East Los Angeles. 3 undercover cops from the Insurance Fraud Bureau, they're the ones wearing caps, say they're willing to act as passengers in a staged crash. And for another $1,000, they offer to provide both cars, the hammer and the nail. Freddie the capper checks to make sure their insurance policy will cover the false claims.
Yeah, everything on it, yeah. We'll cover it. Cost me a lot of money to pay for it a year, that's why. Getting ready to expire soon, man, we'll take advantage.
After checking the policy, Freddie tells the cops just where he wants the damage on the nail, the car to be hit.
Right here's where you want to have, Freddie?
No, I was thinking in the back.
Oh, in the back? Oh, okay, sure. A rear ender? A rear ender, yeah. That's more for the neck injuries, huh?
Yeah.
I know.
We can get the money sooner.
No. All right.
Then Freddie takes the cops to a place to stage the crash, a deserted parking lot a few blocks away.
This is the lower, right? The lower part here. Yeah.
The capper brings along someone he's paid, the man in the white shirt, to drive the crash car. Now it's time for action.
Here it goes. Going down, listen. Here it goes.
But even with rehearsal, staged accidents usually don't come off the first time. So the driver backs his car up, and it's take 2.
Look. Good. Is that good or any more? Want to do one more? That's very good.
Satisfied with the damage, Freddie and the cops head back to the bar to make sure they get their story straight. When, where, and how the accident supposedly happened.
Okay, so 8:30, I was driving on Beverly, right past Atlantic, and I dropped something, and when I looked up, he was there, and I hit him.
Later, Freddie finalizes his deal with the cop, who has provided the insurance policy.
And you'll go ahead and pay me $1,000 on Friday then, right? Okay. Yeah, that sounds real good. Real good.
This makes some easy money.
Oh, yeah. It's a nice way to make some money.
We'll let you know later what happened to Freddie.
We call it showtime, or let's go make a movie tonight.
This is another capper who insisted on appearing in disguise. Jerry, as we'll call him, loved the Hollywood aspect of his work.
I would call myself a director. And the place where I do it, I call it the studio.
Oh, this is easily like a movie, yeah. It was exactly, your job is this, your job is this. Everybody was completely organized.
Buzan took us on the road to show us just how organized. He said that after staging a crash, he and his phony passengers would drive onto a freeway, pull over, and call the cops to report an accident. He had a few tricks to embellish his story.
We would have a bucket of miscellaneous things that we collected from a body shop, such as broken glass, strip a rubber bumper, or, you know, just throw a little bit of this debris around.
I mean, you brought your own props.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're props. You got to make it look real.
In his effort to polish his craft, Buzan says some of the drivers he hired to crash his cars were professional stuntmen, moonlighting from Hollywood studios.
Why would a stunt driver come over and get involved in a crime?
Why do people do cocaine? I mean, it's Hollywood. There's all kinds of crazies out there.
Crazies may help, but this entire enterprise of staged accidents would never get off the ground without the involvement of some other people who are trading on their privileged position.
This could not work. This could not operate, these rings, without crooked doctors and crooked lawyers.
Ira Reiner is district attorney of Los Angeles County.
You have to have a crooked doctor who will do phony medical reports, and you have to have a crooked lawyer who will submit phony claims to an insurance company.
Last October, police raided this medical clinic in Long Beach. They arrested a doctor, the clinic administrator, and other members of what they call the 8th Street Gang. Investigators say the phony victims of staged accidents are sent to clinics where they sign in repeatedly and are billed for months of treatment they never receive.
That's right.
Ron Worthen took us to another clinic used by the 8th Street Gang.
They brought in something like 1,000 staged automobile accidents, $20 million cash flow in 18 months, all out of this clinic across the street, all based on phony automobile accidents.
Wait a second. $20 million in fraudulent claims in a year and a half?
In a year and a half. That's what we know about. It could have been greater.
But the person at the top of this crime pyramid is the attorney who files the fake insurance claims. First, he pays the capper, on average, $1,500 up front for every phony passenger he brings in. Then, after getting the insurance money, he splits it 3 ways. 1/3 to the clinic, 1/3 to the passengers, and 1/3 for himself.
There are probably 100 lawyers in this county that should go to prison for staged auto accident insurance fraud.
Perhaps 100 should go to prison, but in the last decade, Los Angeles County prosecutors have convicted just 2. Beverly Hills attorney Roger Amon served 2.5 years in prison for filing claims for 66 staged accidents. Another lawyer, Michael Bota, was convicted of filing claims for 16 fake crashes and served 19 months. But far more common is what happened last October, when police arrested 44 members of 2 staged accident rings. There wasn't a lawyer in the bunch.
It sounds like you're busting the guy on the street, but you're not getting to the real kingpins in this operation.
I'll be frank with you. We're not getting to the attorneys, nor is any law enforcement agency, as we would like to.
One reason police say is that lawyers insulate themselves by getting their office administrators to do the dirty work. Consider the case of Orange County Attorney Thomas Mullen, charged with filing almost $1 million in phony claims. When we asked Mullen for an interview, he sent us to his attorney, Paul Meyer, who said lawyers may handle fake accidents without realizing they're fake.
We're not dealing with Abe Lincoln's law firm. We're dealing with lawyers who are handling cases in court and relying on investigators, relying on paralegals in order to evaluate their cases.
Meyer is denied all charges in this case, but prosecutors say Attorney Mullen was deeply involved, alleging his clients received bogus treatment from 2 clinics owned by this man, Jose Toribio, and his wife. Toribio was Attorney Mullen's office manager.
The attorney, of course, is going to deny it, and he's going to claim that he didn't know what his office administrator was doing. But that's the classic way that these organizations are set up, using the office administrator.
And he, the administrator, is the screen that provides protection for the lawyer.
Exactly. And it works very well.
You've expressed considerable expertise about the inner workings of his office. Can't you tell us whether or not Mr. Toribio worked in the office?
Absolutely not. You'll have to wait until we go into court.
To say whether he worked in the office, not what he did, whether he worked in the office?
Absolutely.
Former capper Dave Buzan says everyone protects the lawyer.
They're never going to get to an attorney, not through people like me.
Well, why not?
One main reason is because we value our lives too much. This is organized crime. You think we're making money, stop and think what they're making.
Which raises a final question. What have insurance companies done about these false claims? One thing is to pass the cost on to consumers. In California, officials say 25 cents of every dollar spent for auto insurance, that's 25% of the premium, goes to pay for staged accidents. Prosecutor Reiner says companies decided it's cheaper to pay the claims than investigate them.
It was just straight economics. They were not paying the price. The consumer was paying the price.
That really is not true.
Rowena Bishop of Fireman's Fund Insurance says most companies investigate aggressively. She points back at prosecutors, saying there must be stiffer penalties than the 2 years in prison that's the worst cappers, doctors, and lawyers can now expect.
There have to be consequences for their actions. Right now, there are merely slaps on the hands.
But the cops keep trying. Last month, in a 2-day sweep, they broke up a ring they said was responsible for more than $40 million in phony claims. 40 suspects were arrested, and police searched the offices of 14 doctors and 15 attorneys. And remember Freddie the capper? They arrested him, too. Police believe he staged more than 100 crashes, and he's now being held on $500,000 bail.
A footnote, although this is a nationwide scam, it's not nearly so profitable in states that have no-fault auto insurance because there are limits on the claims, therefore not as much money to give out. As you can imagine, that's one of the reasons California is pushing to become a no-fault state.
When we come back, Spike, Sean, Billy, Whoopi, Arnold, Stevie. They all went to the Cannes Film Festival, and they all talked to Judd Rose.
Stevie Wonder movie star. Driving a car. Showing Eddie Murphy around Los Angeles.
But first, when we come back, the Aral Sea is turning into an ocean of sand, and the consequences are devastating. It's the heist of a lifetime. We'll tell you who stole the water and why, when Primetime continues.
Hi, I sell Sealy Posturepedic. They're so comfortable I can sell them in my sleep. Especially during Sealy's bed and breakfast sale. We're lowering the prices on all our Posturepedic mattresses. So warm up to the coziest sale of the year. You'll even get a discount on a bed and breakfast getaway. Sounds like a good deal to me.
Hurry and drop into Sealy's bed and breakfast sale.
You can't just say you're the best. You have to prove it. You have to perform at the highest level. That's why Century 21 professionals are trained to know their business better, skilled at making everything work together, committed to giving you the highest level of professional service. The standard of performance by which all others will be judged.
Whirlpool thinks a great range would do its job virtually undetected, solidly built to work for years without any undue attention. If you want a range so well built you don't have to think about it, think about Whirlpool.
For fun around here, me and the boys like to do something a little bit crazy. Put 2 kinds of cheese on the cheeseburger.
For a wild new taste, head to the store for 2 kinds of cheese and lean ground beef.
Cheddar and Munster. Crazy.
Satin days, satin nights, satin all around you. One rich coat, year to year, always seems brand new. Satin walls, satin dolls, change your point of view. Why see the world in black and white when you can have an ultra satin view?
New Ultra Satin, the art of fine paint, exclusively at True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Values galore here at Discount Charlie's. Yes, we're slashing high prices. This refrigerator freezer, $13.99.95. Now, 2 for $1. So come on down. We're dealing like there's no tomorrow.
And all new dinosaurs Friday after Full House.
Someday, they're the first inhabitants of the moon with a dream of a new life.
There's a solar flare heading for them.
But it becomes a fight for survival.
My brother's out there.
I'm not going to leave him out there to die.
Incoming flare alert. Do you copy?
A world premiere movie, Plymouth, Sunday.
Prime time from Washington. Here now, Sam Donaldson.
Our next story is remarkable because not only is it a man-made catastrophe, but every step along the way, man made it worse. The Soviet Union's Aral Sea was once larger than each of our Great Lakes except Superior. Now it's disappearing. thanks to a government scheme that has proved disastrous for the entire region. Jay Shadler traveled more than 5,000 miles to Soviet Central Asia to trace the tragic chain of mistakes and miscalculations that led to the death of this once mighty body of water.
The tide has gone out and may never come back. The rains rarely come. Only dust and death thrive here. In the Kizilkum Desert, where a garden once bloomed, a Kazakh family huddles on the thin edge of survival. God, if you exist, sings the old poet, give me back my river. But the poet's river and one of the world's greatest inland seas are dying.
An entire sea vanishes in the course of one generation's lifetime.
Yeah.
Vladimir Kotlyakov is director of the Soviet Union's Institute of Geography.
It's the first case of when a real sea is disappearing during one generation.
Imagine Lake Erie, drying to oblivion. That's how much water the Aral Sea has lost in less than 3 decades. For 40 years, the water has been drained off as the Soviets tried to irrigate millions of acres for cotton and rice production. They assumed nature would replenish what man had robbed, but they were wrong. The Aral Sea gets most of its water from 2 giant rivers, the Amudarya and the Sirdarya, but irrigation canals siphoned off that water. And beginning in 1960, the desert started closing in as the sea shrunk to its current size. By the year 2000, it'll look like this.
In many places, it's receded 50 miles, and some places more than that, 60 or 70 in some parts of the Aral Sea.
Western Michigan University professor Philip Micklin is the world's leading authority on the Aral crisis. For many years, his view was confined to the fuzzy images of an American satellite. Finally, in this age of glasnost, the Soviets allowed Micklin, and later Primetime, to take a first-hand look.
I was very impressed by flying over miles and miles and miles of dried, salt-covered bottom. I mean, this enormous area drying up. And then, of course, the ships out in the bottom is very dramatic. I mean, normally you don't see ships sitting in the middle of the desert.
45, 46, 47, 48, 49. Here, in coming to grips with just how fast this environmental holocaust has spread across the land, consider this. From here to that grounded trawler is 49 feet. That's how fast, in some places, the sea has been receding, not every year or month, but every day. A generation ago, the fish were here, and the fishermen were 50 feet above me. During the 1950s, those fishermen produced 6% of the entire annual catch for the Soviet Union. Aral sea sturgeon produced some of the finest caviar in the world. Igolit Tonkimanov was once a sea captain here. This was his boat. The Aral was his life.
But all that's in the past now. Things aren't like that anymore. The fish are all gone.
And today, Munyak, the so-called city of fishermen, lies limp and landlocked, 30 miles from the vanishing sea. Ironically, the dwindling population here is still dependent on fish. The local cannery employs 900 people. But here's the catch. The daily catch is frozen and shipped here by air from a Soviet port 1,700 miles away. Captain Tonkimanov is now a night watchman at that Munyak fish cannery.
A decision was made to take the water for cotton, that the cotton was necessary, and that the Aral Sea was not.
And the cost of that trade-off is still piling up. The Soviets were obsessed with the idea that cotton would bring them economic self-sufficiency at home and hard currency from abroad. So Kremlin leaders, from Stalin to Brezhnev, pushed the plans, cut the canals through the desert, and stole water from the Aral Sea
for the cotton fields of Uzbekistan.
Brezhnev called cotton white gold, but we call it white death.
Orazbai Abdurakhimov is Central Asia's leading environmentalist. We walked with him across what once was the Amudarya River, listening as he laid this tragedy at the feet of the communist system. Central planning and production quotas for crops left little room for this region's fragile ecology.
Our system is to blame. Our system actually planned all this. The death of the Aral and the great river and the fate of our entire nation. All of that was planned. It was a planned death.
To grow 1 ton of cotton here in Central Asia, 10,000 tons of water had to be siphoned from the sea. This mound of cotton alone drank 3.5 million tons of the Aral. The equation added up to catastrophe, and warnings from the scientific community added up to nothing.
Nobody listened for us, especially authorities.
Once a decision was made, then everybody was expected to carry that decision out and keep quiet about any opposition to it.
Even today, giant irrigation canals are still being built without either metal or plastic liners. So the water, precious and scarce, vanishes into the sand, leaving blinding white lakes of salt which strangle the very crops the Kremlin is trying to grow. The fishermen lost their sea, and the peasants are losing their soil.
We pick cotton balls this big. They used to be like this. The water is no good. And if we had good soil, the cotton plants would be this high. They would be 1 meter and 20 centimeters. But the water is salty and the plants are small. It's useless to give more water to salty soil.
Of course, as the level of the sea began falling, so did the prospects of ever sustaining those thirsty cotton crops. So the Soviets took a deadly gamble with nature and lost. In order to keep their dreams of a cotton oasis alive, they would poison the land and indirectly its people to death. Desperate to meet state production quotas, they poured megadoses of chemical fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides on their already abused fields. But every attempt to grow more cotton did more damage. The planners had set off a vicious cycle, with the people caught in the middle.
Airplanes dropped chemicals on us while we were working in the fields.
They flew over the fields and the village.
Did you know then that the chemicals were dangerous, that they were poisonous?
Sure, but what could we do? Where could we hide?
The amounts they put on are far more than necessary, but it's just the way the system operates. Somebody has a quota to go dump pesticides, just dump them all over the place. We've fulfilled our quota, whether it's 10 times more than is needed.
Soviet sources confirm that DDT and other banned chemicals are still in use here. Orazbai Abdurakhimov says one of those chemicals, Butafos, is a toxic defoliant similar to Agent Orange.
You Americans use this to destroy forests in Vietnam, to destroy the enemy in a war. We use it in times of peace against our own people, on ourselves.
And so the illnesses have begun. Anemia, asthma, kidney failure, the list of diseases is long and growing. Tell us why the skin is like this. What causes the skin to be that loose?
This child is 1.5 years old, but because she's so underdeveloped, her skin and her body size have not grown at the same rate. It's a case of underdevelopment, excess skin and underdevelopment.
Is this problem directly resulting from the Aral Sea crisis? With a lethal brew of pesticides and salt lacing the wind and choking the water supply, children are dying here at an unprecedented rate. In many parts of Uzbekistan, a child has less than a 50-50 chance of surviving to his first birthday. In the meantime, the new desert continues its relentless march, 49 feet a day, toward the possibility of an even more frightening contamination. Because just over the horizon is an island, rumored to be the scene of germ warfare experimentation.
And here we see a blow-up of Resurrection Island, The red area surrounding it is land that has come out from under the water between 1973 and 1989.
What is this star-like feature here? It looks almost like a landing strip.
It's airfields, a number of crisscrossed runways.
Micklin says he has done an analysis of the region for the CIA, who want to know when Resurrection Island will be connected to the mainland.
They wanted to know how soon this ridge might come out.
The answer, 10 years, and germ organisms could begin migrating across what had been a natural moat.
It's a definite possibility, assuming that there would be still some live organisms on here. You have a
Soviet officials admitted to Primetime that Resurrection Island was once a military site, but they refused to take us there or even comment on the germ warfare theory. Facing all of this, the Kremlin is searching for ways to bring back the sea. But once again, man's attempt to alter nature may set off a chain reaction of environmental catastrophes.
One of the ways they have been talking about fixing it would have a very harmful impact on our weather patterns.
Senator Albert Gore is chairman of the Global Political Committee on the Environment and the first Western politician to tour the Aral Sea. During his trip, he learned of a bizarre proposed solution. It would divert two huge Siberian rivers which currently feed the Arctic Ocean,
and in the process dramatically alter weather patterns in the northern hemisphere. Now, luckily, the Soviet environmentalists are telling their policymakers this is absolutely nuts, but Moscow is getting so much pressure from these Central Asian republics that they have actually been considering this harebrained scheme.
The country's desperate economy will probably prevent Moscow from going ahead with the project. Indeed, the economy will probably prevent them from doing anything at all.
It is a real dilemma. To supply sufficient water to the Aral Sea to really raise its level means you'd have to cut back in irrigation enormously. What are you going to do with the people that work in various kinds of occupations related to irrigation? It is being caught between a rock and a hard place.
We need water, air, and health for life. On the other hand, cotton is the bread of life.
As for the future of the Aral Sea, even the optimists sound like doomsayers. The system that created the problem first ignored it, now can't fix it. It's predicted that by the end of the decade, this once mighty sea will be reduced to a few small, lifeless lakes in an ocean of sand. Central Asians have come up with a new name for their region. They call it the Aral Coon, the Aral Desert. The old poet sings, the Aral Sea may fill up with my tears.
There's no solution in sight. The Soviet Parliament has suggested the area be declared an ecological disaster zone and pass some of the responsibility to local governments. But the bottom line is this: the government hasn't come up with any money to try to save the Aral.
Coming up, it's the world's biggest film festival. Judd Rose, our man in Can, when Primetime continues after this from our ABC stations.
Falsely convicted, he spent 12 years on death row. Tomorrow, Randall Adams on a life as a free man.
Then check out Charleston's Spoleto Music Fest and Bruce Willis. What's the real-life story behind his role as Hudson Hawk?
On Good Morning America tomorrow.
Foreclosure. For economists, a measure of hard times. For others, the end of a dream. What's a family to do? Plus, this Vietnam vet's buddy didn't come home after 2 decades searching for his family, an emotional meeting. 2020, Friday.
Your Hyundai dealer introduces the striking new Scoop Special Edition, featuring alloy wheels, rear spoiler, stereo, sport bucket seats, and a $1,444 factory discount. That means it costs only $93.75. And factory to dealer incentives could mean even greater savings. But with only a limited number available, these cars could disappear in a flash. Test drive the limited edition Scoop SE at your nearest Hyundai dealer right away.
A burglary suspect was shot to death today while leaving his home with law enforcement officials. His common-law wife's father apparently fired on him and also struck a child, critically wounding her. We'll have an update. Plus, we'll tell you about a proposed smoking ban here in Shreveport. There was a public hearing tonight. We'll have details. And in sports, Ed?
In sports, we'll tell you about Frank Robinson, who was fired today by the Baltimore Orioles. Also, you'll hear from the Northwestern State University Demons, who are going to face LSU in the South Regional.
All this at 10.
If you are an older adult, this brochure can help you. It's part of Health Look 91. Call for your free brochure. Serving the Arklatex. We're KTBS Channel 3.
When prime time continues, it's like the Oscars, the circus, and a trade show, all rolled into one.
It must be you. I doubt that this is for me.
From the beaches, to the screenings, to the parties, the Cannes Film Festival is all about promotion and publicity. And don't forget the stunning views.
This was just a small little den. So what we did was we just knocked the wall down and put the ocean in, and it seems to work. Let me show you what I did with the other coast.
Join Judd Rose in Cannes when prime time continues.
Dear Mom and Dad, it's like magic being here. I know you're worrying, but I'm fine. And if they have a phone in the next village, I promise I'll call you.
This is the AT&T USA Direct Operator for Mrs. Patterson.
Mom? Hola. ¿Cómo está?
Making it easy to call the States from more places worldwide is just one of the ways AT&T can help you. It's all in the cards. How can we help you?
Your high-fiber cereal
Tastes like a high-fiber cereal.
But my high-fiber cereal is different.
Why? Because it comes in a big red box?
No, because it's delicious.
Really?
It's the only one with this delicious combination of raisins, dates, nuts, and crunchy clusters.
Keeps sounding better and better.
And crispy high-fiber bran flakes.
That makes it perfect.
That makes it fruit and fiber.
And that makes fruit and fiber my high-fiber cereal.
Post fruit and fiber cereal.
Delicious.
Why would you want your fiber any other way?
Ever since Mitsubishi Motors began 75 years ago, the diamond has been used as the unbending guiding principle of Mitsubishi quality. The name Mitsubishi means 3 diamonds. Now, for its diamond anniversary, Mitsubishi proudly introduces the Diamante, a new luxury performance sedan that is brilliant in every facet. The new Diamante from Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
Skin is not necessary.
Mrs. Elliott's cooking class emphasizes lighter foods, and since today's lesson is chicken that isn't bland or dry, she'll reach for the tangy Zip of Miracle Whip.
Zip is your vital ingredient.
Kitchen A mixed in honey and mustard. Kitchen B, Italian dressing.
Miracle Whip salad dressing gives poultry zip.
Grilled, baked, and broiled, one lesson was learned by all.
No kitchen is complete without Zip.
To make any chicken taste moist and tender,
Reach for the Zip of Miracle Whip.
Tonight on Nightline, part 2 of the special ABC News Nightline Financial Times investigation. Saddam's secret weapons channel, how sophisticated military technology flowed from the U.S. to South Africa and on to Iraq. Tonight.
No other event can match the speed, the drama, and the excitement of the greatest spectacle in racing. The Indianapolis 500 live Sunday on ABC Sports.
The American historian Daniel Boorstin once said, "We live in the new age of celebrity, where people are famous for being famous." Self-promotion has reached a kind of delirium, and it seems clear that the Olympics of self-promotion takes place every year at the Cannes Film Festival. There's business done there, some business. B-movies are sold to the international markets, and some people actually get funding for movies they want to make. But mostly, it's exhibitionism gone mad. A fascinating study in just what people will do to get attention. Here's our prime observer of the human foible, Judd Rose.
Hey, is this some country or what? They've got French food, French wine, French art. They even invented French kissing. So, this your first time?
It's the first time I've ever been here. And it's only the third time I've ever been anywhere.
Well, this is your lucky day. I'm going to show you stuff the tourists never see.
The hoopla, the hype, what people call the madhouse, the circus, the zoo.
As they say around here, ooh la la. Nothing like it back home, huh?
Now that I'm here, wow, you know, wow.
That's why you got to pace yourself. We've got lots to do. See, this trip, it's not just fun.
It's buy and sell, it's push, 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 meet, meet, meet. And partying, it's one party after another.
It's Vegas on the Mediterranean. It's Hollywood on the Riviera. So dust off that tux and slap on those shades, man. You're in Cannes.
What do they say about the circus? The sawdust and the stardust? That's what Cannes is, too.
Roger Ebert's been coming for 17 years to what he and many others consider the most important film festival in the world. This, after all, is France, where filmmaking is treated like winemaking or lovemaking or rudeness as a true art form.
They're very serious about their films here.
Vous aren't kidding. Even before the festival began, huge crowds would form in front of the main hotels, standing for hours and staring at nothing. Who are you hoping to see?
Nobody.
Well, why are you standing here?
I don't know, because everybody is standing here.
So tell me, what do you see so far?
So far,
what have you seen?
Nothing.
Pretty exciting, huh?
I don't have my glasses.
I heard a rumor that Whoopi Goldberg was over there a little while ago.
A rumor?
Yeah.
Wow.
Someone said they saw her head.
Well, stand around long enough and you're bound to see someone. Not since D-Day have so many foreigners landed on a French beach. 40,000 of them. Actors and agents, models and moguls, publicists and paparazzi. All squeezed into a few square blocks by the sea.
Finding one's way in Cannes, you really need an insider's guide.
Henri Behar covers Cannes for the French newspaper Le Monde.
If you just arrived like the first day and go, where the hell do I go? Where to eat? Which table to get? I mean, forget Morton's in LA, forget the Russian tea room. The geopolitics in Cannes are crazy.
Cannes began in 1946 as a modest event. They didn't even hand out awards the first few years. But it soon became synonymous with movie glamour. The 50s and 60s were Cannes' glory years, an era of big stars and big cigars, big deals and big bucks, and of course, unknowns looking for that big break. A lot's changed, but that hasn't.
Part of the stereotype of Cannes is that this is the place where a starlet comes. Are you a starlet?
I'd say ingenue.
What's the difference between a starlet and an ingenue?
I don't know, it sounds classy, I think.
Okay.
A short lesson in the quality of celebrity here. We tried to take Candace Daly for a walk along the Quisette, the beachfront promenade. But when people saw her ingenue looks and our camera, we were mobbed, even though no one had the slightest clue who she was.
Who am I? Yes. My name is Candace. Candace. I have a film called Liquid Dreams.
Liquid Dreams wasn't up for any prizes. It was part of the festival's international film market, where hundreds of films are bought and sold for as much as tens of millions, as little as $1.
I met one guy, interviewed him one year, who sold films by the pound. You know, back up your car, open the trunk. How many do you want?
The first superhero from New Jersey returns. Most of what's sold at Cannes are low-budget films with a low-cost cast, like Lisa Gay, starlet.
Oh, no, I am a star.
What's the difference?
A starlet is a little star, and in my eyes, I'm a big star. I'm a big star in little movies.
Lisa's latest little movie is Class of Newcomb High 2, one of the many schlock classics sold by New York-based Troma Films.
Unemployed barbarian in dinosaur hell.
Surf Nazis must die.
He is Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD.
There's no budget for fancy parties, so Troma tries a more direct promotional approach, while studio boss Lloyd Kaufman puts the arm on potential buyers.
More in production value, better pyrotechnics, better cape, good-looking cape.
Laugh all you want.
Kaufman tells us his studio makes about half of its annual profits from deals cut in Cannes.
Trauma proves to the world that America is the only place where an individual like me, who starts off life with no money and no talent and very little intelligence, well, I shouldn't have said that, but at any rate, the point is one can actually start with nothing and build up a movie studio.
For the big studios, it's a different story. This year, Universal put its considerable resources behind Spike Lee's new film about interracial romance, Jungle Fever.
The main economic reason we take films to the Cannes Film Festival is because the entire press of the world is gathered there, so that in one place, Spike Lee and the other cast members can be interviewed on Japanese television, French television. They've all gathered to one place. It's very convenient.
And very important, since Universal does 40% of its business overseas. For Spike Lee, it was more personal. 2 years ago, he stormed out of Cannes after Do the Right Thing was beaten for the top prize by Sex, Lies, and Videotape.
You felt burned when Do the Right Thing didn't win.
Robbed.
How do you mean?
That was 2 years ago. And I really don't want, we felt we made a great film. Yeah, we didn't even win. I'm not even talking about the Palme d'Or. We didn't win anything. But that was it.
And this is now. The fate of Jungle Fever was in the hands of the Cannes jury. Juror Whoopi Goldberg was sworn to silence.
You know, as soon as somebody says, and don't say anything, it's like, it's like all you want to do is talk about what you saw. You know, and so you say, I saw the, you know, and they convince you that your room is bugged and you can't, like, hum about the movies in the bathroom because, of course, there's a little camera somewhere clicking away. It's very frightening.
But this year, the biggest star at the world's most famous film festival isn't even a film star. Oh, sure, she's made some movies in recent years, but most were box office bombs, and her acting hasn't exactly set the world on fire. But Cannes is about more than just movies. It's a 12-day celebration of glamour, money, sex, and wretched excess. In other words, an event tailor-made for...
Madonna.
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 Elle est superbe, elle est extraordinaire.
When Madonna comes in, what are you going to do?
I'm going to cry. Hey, Madonna! Come, Madonna, come to me.
But in Cannes last week, it was a lot tougher to get her to go away. Hyping her movie, and as always, herself, Our Lady of Perpetual Promotion was everywhere. And everywhere she went, mayhem followed.
It gets annoying when people tell you they can't wait on you because they're waiting on Madonna. You know, they're waiting for her to come down into the restaurant so they can wait on her. See, this I don't care about. Serve me now. When she gets here, she'll tell you what she wants. But serve me now because I'm hungry and I'll eat your family. Simple.
When Madonna threw a party, jaded VIPs seemed ready to eat their own families for a ticket. But she wasn't completely overexposed just yet.
I can't open my coat yet. I'm saving that for later.
That meant the red-carpeted steps of the Palais, where Madonna arrived to see her film and got right into the Cannes spirit by taking her clothes off. Brazen, vulgar. What's she trying to tell us, other than that she has odd taste in underwear?
Well, it seems to be an age of mediocrity, and I think Madonna is way out there in front, leading us all.
We did manage to meet Madonna's ex. Sean Penn was promoting Indian Runner, his first effort as a director. He was surrounded by guards and publicists who made us promise not to ask him about you-know-who. Being a celebrity isn't always as easy as it looks.
Somebody up there, down there, or wherever they are, decided wrongly that there wasn't enough envy and jealousy and hatred in the world. So they created celebrity so that one could serve as a battering ram.
Battering ram?
Yeah, they take your head and ram it into the wall to open their door.
Hey, Sean, babe, go take a nap or something. Celebrity and the promotion of it is why you come to Cannes. It's why Bridget Nielsen sends advance word that she's going for a stroll on the beach. It's why Dennis Hopper endures a loud and crowded cocktail party.
This is more fun than I've had today, okay?
This is the biggest fun?
This is it.
Well, you're in trouble.
I know.
And it's why Arnold Schwarzenegger came to Cannes to promote his new movie and his new restaurant.
You arrange one press conference in Cannes, and the power of that the media has here, and they go back to their countries. The amount of publicity you get, the amount of exposure you get for product is unbelievable.
It's no coincidence that if you ask Universal boss Tom Pollock if anyone can sell a picture overseas on name alone, he says,
Arnold Schwarzenegger is a true movie star around the world, every country of the world, including the United States.
Well, that's nice of Tom. That's going to cost him another $5 million right there.
The festival finished Monday with a surprise. Barton Fink, a satire of Hollywood by Joel and Ethan Coen, swept the awards. Spike Lee once again was shut out, and he left Cannes vowing never to go back.
Walking from the palace, people were saying, you got robbed again, the second year in a row. So what can you do?
But who needs Cannes anyway? Nobody really seems to have much fun. The sad truth is, most are here because they have to be.
It's a trade show. That's the thing also. It's no different than big, you know, those big RV shows and car shows, but it's the movie show, and it's fabulous. The thing that I think, the individual personal touch of giving everybody a yacht, well, I think is a fabulous idea.
So that's your yacht out there, huh?
Yeah, that's it right there. Individual yachts are given to everybody who comes.
Incredible.
It's a great thing.
Like I said, is this a great country or what?
One measure how much it pays to promote and self-promote at Cannes is this. The agents of this year's winner, Barton Fink, had estimated that the film would earn about $30 million, but now after winning Cannes, they expect it to make $50 million plus.
For fun around here, me and the boys like to do something a little bit crazy. Put 2 kinds of cheese on the cheeseburger.
For a wild new taste, head to the store for 2 kinds of cheese and lean ground beef.
Cheddar and Munster. Crazy.
The day may come when travelers don't care how much their luggage weighs. But for now, there's the Samsonite Lightweight. It's 25% lighter than the average soft-side suitcase. Because at least in the immediate future, the weight of the luggage you carry can still be a matter of some gravity. Samsonite, our strengths are legendary.
Honda has been named #1 in import owner loyalty for the 14th year in a row, which means year after year, more people buy Honda after Honda. Why? Because you get what you pay for.
The Accord Lease Program. See your nearest Honda dealer for details.
Get a headache.
I have this headache. A really bad headache.
A lot of pain relievers say they're strong for headaches, but remember, just 1 Motrin IB gives you as much pain relief as 2 of those. End of headache. Non-prescription Motrin IB.
Some local doctors and other residents in Shreveport want the council to consider a smoke-free city. There was a public hearing tonight, and we'll tell you what was said.
David Duke's bill to pay welfare mothers not to have children makes it through a House committee, but it's not the bill he intended. Those stories and more next on Nightcast.
Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Rick Dees, and let's meet here later tonight. We've got Mr. Entertainment Wayne Newton, from Amen, Bumper Robinson, comedian Sheila Kay. It's all into the night.
Here are some of the stories Primetime will bring you next week.
I cry every day because we suffer so much misery.
An undercover investigation of children sold into slavery. It's a sweet deal for plantation owners, made even sweeter by Americans' appetite for sugar. Hidden cameras show Haitian boys who were kidnapped and brought to the Dominican Republic, where they're paid next to nothing for working 12 hours a day cutting sugar cane. Also a defense lawyer who seems to be a legal Houdini, if you're a middle-class male and you've killed your wife.
Does it bother you at all that you're regarded as a pariah?
Am I regarded? Who said I was a pariah? Many of the residents of Tucson, Arizona, where Bob Hirsch has helped free a number of men, including this man who first threatened, then stabbed his wife to death.
The social consequence of this acquittal is a good one.
Use or abuse of the system.